This is going to be part 2 of the Gray Zone Warfare developer livestream. In my previous video where I covered the first part of that livestream where they talked about optimization and performance efforts that the team has been doing. In this second part of that livestream, we are going to talk about and cover everything about gameplay flow and all of the awesome quality of life changes that they are adding to the game. The one I'm especially excited about is the stash sorting system they are adding. It is very cool with a little unique feature that no other game has that will make my autism very pleased. They will also go a little bit over the conflict zones, the PvP zones that get triggered when factions fight that they revealed during the Winds of War stream, which I also covered in one of my previous videos. Without any further delay, let's get right into the video. So, starting off with changes to game flow, the first thing they said that was mentioned before in the Winds of War video is that you will be able to manage tasks from anywhere on the map. You will no longer require to call a heli, travel back to the FOB in order to accept or give in your tasks. Saying that there will still be an element of traveling from LZ to your FOB, as there are missions in the game that require you either to pick something up from the FOB or deliver something back to the FOB. So of course, for those cases, you will still have to travel back to your base. I believe this change will impact the game flow very heavily. It will be a huge help when it comes to the time spent on traveling as opposed to the time of actually playing the game, questing, and completing your missions. As now, in order to keep progressing, you won't have to fly back. You'll be able to just continue and keep knocking out your missions until you get to those few ones where you have to transport something back and forth. It will also help in helicopter traffic. I'm sure that with less need of traveling constantly from an LZ back to a FOB, this will make helicopters more available for people to use and will decrease waiting times at least a little bit. Of course, there will still be traffic and some waiting times as people that are spawning at FOBs or the new outposts that will be coming obviously will still be using the helicopters to fly, so that is not going to be completely eliminated, and I think personally that's kind of expected, and I don't really see the need of that fully somehow going away. I don't think they can make it fully go away, and I personally am happy with a little wait times for helis, especially now where I won't have to go back and forth so much. I will be able to just grind a bunch of my missions and then go back, and when it's a once or two or three times a day type of situations when you're traveling a lot, is not as bad when it's every single time you call a heli you have to wait because you keep traveling back and forth. So all those times you're waiting stack up and just make you know, a little bit unhappy with the system. The next thing they mention is that they have updated a lot of tasks. They reworked them to make them a little different and better. All the tasks won't be exactly the same next swipe. They will be marked in the UI to let people know that this task has been reworked. And the reason they had to add this is as when they previously changed tasks, a lot of people got confused by that, and many players unfortunately started submitting bug reports thinking that something was broken and wasn't actually changed. So make sure you read your tasks, guys. They also have made starter towns to be more streamlined, so it doesn't take so long to get out of that part of the intro to the game, I would say, and you can move on from the starter town into the new locations much faster. This will let the veterans not to have to spend so much time again every wipe in the starter towns and spend hours before they can actually continue from that town and get into the higher tier questing, but will still let the newbies to the game get familiar with the game and learn it before they then get pushed into the rough waters of the next locations and tasks. Now, roughly before they did the rework to the starter town questing and stuff, that took 5 hours to complete. Now though, it will be only around an hour and 50 minutes, which is a huge cut down in time. Apart from reworking tasks, they are also adding brand new tasks to the game game. And in order to make progressing a little bit faster as a team, they will make some tasks shareable with your mates so you can progress them together and share, for example, the progress of killing a certain amount of enemies as long as you are within a certain proximity to each other. Right now, it seems to be around 500 meters from what they said. And they also said you don't even need to have the task for your friend to get the progress from you killing the AI, which is kind of huge. And that will also include bosses. So honestly, huge W. This will be dope for a lot of players, especially the people that play as a team. And of course, as we know from the Winds of War video, the combat outpost will be added to the game. That will also improve game flow tremendously, as you will be able to spawn at the combat outpost instead of at the FOBs. So wherever you're planning to play today, you can spawn in a combat outpost that is much closer to that area where you're going to spend your day at, and that will reduce travel times and that heli traffic also. Now, that was all on the game flow stuff. Now let's talk about the quality of life improvements that are coming to Gray Zone Warfare. The very first quality of life improvement we are getting is suicide. Yeah, I didn't expect that one to be the first thing they say or at all, but that is coming. Now, of course, the purpose of that is for situations where you get stuck or something game-breaking happens that you can't really get out of. Then you can just suicide and basically trigger the process of respawning, and you'll just lose your gear and be able to get right back into the game. Personally, I guess you could have just ended deployment and it will do kind of the same thing, but this way you won't be forced to basically log out of the server and have these extra steps that will take you out of the game. You will be able to just stay in the server, use the system to suicide, and you will respawn without having to leave the server and risk waiting in queues or anything like that. Another thing that I also covered a little bit in my Winds of War video is their friend or foe system that they're adding. It is basically a way to recognize friendlies. They're adding armbands, but there is something special about this system, unlike what you'd think of in Tarkov, which also has armbands. In this game, you will only see the armbands on friendlies and you will never see them on enemy players. This will help a little extra in recognizing friendlies from enemies because you won't get confused by armbands. That actually happens in Tarkov. There is also a system that will be speaking to you about presence of enemies in the area, of friendlies or both. There will be a radio operator that will be talking to the player and he will be giving the player some information. I think that's a really cool addition. I actually can't wait to have my radio operator be just calming me through my radio, being like, bogeys in the area. What was that voice? Anyway, now next thing is shooting out lights. They are adding this feature to the game for, I guess, to make the night ops a little bit nicer when it comes to that nighttime gameplay loop. Now, not all lights will be shootable. There will be some lights that are not distractable yet, but they will be expanding on that as they go. This is very cool, as it will make, like I said, the night ops type of gameplay more engaging and cool. You'll be able to shoot out different lights in order to basically bring darkness to the area. That, on top of having the electrical boxes that you can hit and switch off to turn off lights in like whole buildings, all of that will just make the whole night ops gameplay much more awesome. Now, the part I mentioned in the intro, they are adding locker sorting to the game too. This is much needed, especially for people like me. I love my stuff to look neat, tidy, and to be sorted, and I hate spending too much time on Tetris. Personally, Tarkov killed the whole joy of Tetrising equipment out of me a long time ago because of how dogshit that is in that game, pardon me. Now, this system will have a little extra, a little something special that I think will make this system actually the best out of any game with a system like this, and that is the fact that you will be able to move around the type of item icons that you get on like the left hand side. You'll be able to position them up and down and sort them in the order of your preference, and then when you choose to sort your stash, the items will then sort according to how you sorted those types. So if you put guns at the top and then you put ammo and then you put medicine, when you sort the stash, you will have your guns at the top, then ammo, then medicine, and so on, which is awesome. It will let you personalize your sorting and give you items up top that you want to prioritize and down bottom items that you don't prioritize as much. So that is awesome. 10 out of 10. I actually can't wait for that feature. The next thing was also something I mentioned in my Winds of War video. It is the AI telegraphing their state through additional status effects that the players already have, and the implementations of organs, which will be very, very lethal when hit. You will be able to see all of those different status effects through AI having new animations representative by their status. So things like limping when shot in the leg, or even something little as flinching from getting hit, or if they get shot in the head and the bullet doesn't penetrate, the AI will now get stunned or even knocked down, and you will be able to visibly see it. These additions will make the AI feel less bullet spongy, as now you will be able to recognize the damage and injury you caused with your shots. Basically, you will be able to see the AI in pain and what's messed up on them through animations. That is really cool. It will add to the realistic feeling and visual feedback when it comes to fighting AI, and it will just make the whole PvE part of the game much cooler. We're gonna have more weapons and gear cases coming. These are super helpful to keep your locker tidy and organized, as well as helping with space managing. There will be multiple new different types like grenade cases, weapon part cases, or gun cases. There will be different ways of obtaining cases, including some being purchasable from the vendors. That is very good. They also plan to allow people to name cases, but unfortunately they didn't really have the time to squeeze that into 03, but it is coming. Next up was audio. People don't like the frog and mosquito audio. Really? I personally think it's nice. I wouldn't change it. I mean, people be extra, man. They are going to rework that a bit to please the people that didn't like it. Next thing is vendors and economy. This one is kind of huge. They will be adding one more level to the vendors. They will have now 4 levels instead of 3. They did this because they want peak items to be more effort to get and take a bit longer in progression. Have the progression itself feel a bit more smooth, where there aren't any large skips in power, so to say. So they will make basically the first level way more sucky. I don't like that. I really don't. They literally said it will suck. I don't like that change. Basically, the level 1 vendors now be your level 2 vendor. The goal is to rely a little more on looting and gear from enemies that you kill and pick up, and basically all the types of gear and guns you find in the world to use. Now, I personally enjoy the fact that I wasn't forced to use garbage in this game as compared to like Tarkov. This is like more of a operator mission game, like I said before, and not really as much of a hardcore playing to survive game. You play to be an operator and complete missions. You're not playing to survive, if that makes sense. I think it does. So yeah, I don't really like the change. I don't like having shitty gear. I thought that level 1 gear was fine where it was. It wasn't nothing crazy. You could just get a semi-built M4 or something, and that was it. It wasn't nothing huge. But now I'm going to be forced to use just shitty AI guns, and I really don't like that. It now throws me back into Tarkov, and this is something that I specifically liked about Gray Zone Warfare, that I could start as kind of a low tier operator straight away and not as a peasant. So it is what it is. They are also making changes to how the scopes work. They will add smooth zooming. It looks really good. Now, a chatter suggested that we should be able to hold our breath for longer when we're looking for a scope, and they replied to that since they are in a balancing stage, they are considering everything. They said they might look at it and tweak it if it feels like it's a valid proposition. You will now also be able to loot new random dead bodies scattered around the map. Well, not new. I'm sure you've seen a lot of them already, just the static dead bodies. They will basically become extra loot containers to search through and find gear inside of. They will be adding more lootable objects than just the dead bodies though. They have improvements to the health screen, giving more information to the player. They will expand the info that is provided by individual wounds and the status effects you see. It will now tell you what round was used, if it penetrated, if it ricocheted, etc. They also have wound merging in the game, which will be more understandable now. It means that when you get shot in a place that has a wound next to it, instead of a new wound being created, those two wounds now merge, and now you'll be able to see those merges and gain extra information on them thanks to the new health screen information that will be provided. Now, next is the topic of durability and repair. They are doing some major changes to it. Right now, the number 1 cause of weapon tanking and durability was from the weapon getting hit and from from the death penalty. They are changing things a little bit. You will no longer get a durability penalty from being in a coma or dying when it comes to weapons and gear. The only way for the damage to happen is going to be by gear and weapons actually being damaged. So again, by getting shot at. So if someone has good aim or you use your weapon as a shield somehow, that is what's going to cause the weapon durability to go down. And of course, as your gear takes hits, durability will also be going down. They are also iterating on the repair features and will be adding repair kits. That is really good. They will have different grades to the repair kits, and of course different types of repair kits, from gun repair to gear repair kits of many different levels of, I guess I'd say, what would be the word, strength. So obviously certain repair kits will only do a certain amount of durability, and the more high tier repair kits will give you a higher amount of durability back with less max durability taking away. The last part is just a guess though. Now coming up to the end, they wanted to clarify some stuff from the Winds of War stream about the combat zones. So people had questions and worries about how they will work, and they answered the ones that were popping up the most. So now combat zones will appear when a PMC attacks another PMC from a different faction. Even just shooting at a PMC and not actually hitting your shot, basically just suppressing, can start it, and it literally does not have to include killing the enemy. It can just be shots fired. People were worried about the circle part showing up on the map if you were sniping, that their position will just get revealed because the circle will spawn on top of them. It's not how it works. The circle will basically spawn between you and the person you're sniping at, so your position as a sniper won't be revealed completely the way people thought it would. Now the combat zones will also be visible to all factions, and everybody can go and participate in them. You will be informed when these pop up thanks to the radio operator that will come info to you, and of course they will continue to iterate on this feature as we go. And finally, they closed off this dev stream talking about the experimental branch that is coming for testing. Now, this branch is going to be under NDA. To apply, you will have to fill out a form, and I'm guessing you can find it on their Discord right now. And the two important things to think about is that you will need to be very precise when copying and providing your Steam ID and your Discord name. They're specific about this, so make sure you watch the actual live stream to make sure you do it properly, because if you don't do it properly and you give them headaches with trying to find you now, they will just basically reject your application. So if you mess up, you will not get selected. Now, if you are a supporter edition owner, you will get priority on being chosen for the experimental branch as a thanks for the support, and also previous testers will also get priority. Now, I'll say that again, go to their Discord and watch the live stream for more information on that. And if that's something you want to participate, I would encourage you to fill out an application and hopefully you get accepted. Now, also they did a Q&A, but I will not cover this in the video. If you want to see the Q&A, I will also advise to just go watch their full live stream, or just to go watch that part in their live stream. All right, that is it. We are done with the dev stream recap. I hope you all enjoyed this video and you found it very useful. I would also like to thank everybody that has been watching my videos. You guys have been liking them and commenting, saying all types of kind things to me, and honestly, you have encouraged me and warmed my heart, and I am forever grateful and extremely happy for all of the kind stuff you guys been saying. Thank you so much. This is a huge boost of encouragement, and I will keep grinding these videos just for you. So if you did like it and you found it useful, please hit that subscribe button. It will help me out a lot. Make sure to leave a like and comment letting me know what you thought about the video, the game flow changes, the quality of life stuff, and of course let me know about the things you didn't like. Thank you guys for all the love you've been giving me. I honestly can't express how much it means to me, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.
君の虜になってしまえばきっとこの夏は充実するのモード噂のドリーミング忘れ